When it comes to writing stories, I think one of the greatest assets we have as writers is our lived experience. And what I mean by that is when we're writing an emotional scene, we can draw on our own experiences, on that universal human experience of what it means to love, to be maybe not wanted in a relationship, to have to console our broken hearts, the grief that we feel when we lose a loved one, and so many other ways that we process what it means to be human. I think our stories really grow in value from having our own personal input in them. And it seems weird because in fiction, it's all fictional. So what does it matter about your own personal experiences? Well, I think in fiction, we have an opportunity to walk in other people's shoes and try on their lives. And whether we're a reader or a writer, we're trying on another person's life and we're having those experiences with them. But as a writer, you are the person who's writing the protagonist and the antagonist. You're writing the love interest and the sidekick and the henchman or the guide character. And all of these characters are aspects of yourself. And although they're not going to be you on the page, each one of them in one way or another draws on something that you have inside of you, or maybe that you've observed through seeing it play out in others' lives. And that too, for me, is about lived experience. And that gives you an authority in what you're writing. For example, I know what it feels like to love someone and lose them to dementia. I know what it felt like when I lost my mum to that disease. And I know what the anticipatory grief felt like. And I also learned what it felt like to lose her and then have to go through the process of starting a new life. Now, when characters begin their journeys, they're going from their normal life and an inciting incident happens and their lives become changed. They get called to an adventure or they get challenged to move out of their comfort zone through a problem or having a goal that they want to go for. And in a way that reflects life for us. For me, I think that writing has a real capacity for us as readers and as writers to explore what it means to be human. So I think that one of the greatest assets that you have when you come to writing your fiction is to trust in yourself and your experiences. That's not to say don't be open to feedback, because you should, as a writer, always be open to feedback, but also discerning in who gives you that feedback and what their purpose or aim is, their goal. And the reason I say that is because sometimes we give our stories to people who aren't really the best supporters of our fiction, but they may not understand what you're trying to do. They may not be professionally trained. They may not be readers in the genre that you're writing in. So just a caveat there. But I wanted to talk about this because I think that a lot of writers, in my experience, may not be consciously thinking about what they bring to the story. Sure, our characters sort of like come into our minds or into our imaginations. Some of them run off on the page and do their own thing. But ultimately, we are in co-creation with creativity. And part of that has got to come through the symbolism and archetypes that we have in our own selves. I hope that makes sense. I want to encourage you to think deeply about what it is that you're writing and why you're writing it. What are you bringing to that story? When you are authentic with your writing on the page, your reader will really get it, and they'll get it at an emotional level. When we write, not only are we getting to experience life through another, but we're getting to learn what it means to have empathy for another person's experience. And I think that doesn't matter which genre you're in, you're going to have an opportunity to learn empathy, because to write another person's experience, we have to empathize with them. To read about them, we get to understand what their motivations are for what they do, for example, why they want their story goal and why it's so important to them. And that gives us a level of empathy, and we begin to reframe in our minds situations that we may have judged harshly before, because as readers, we're able to see the bigger picture. We're able to understand the motivations behind the actions. And so it can soften the edges of what it means to be living life. To end, just think about the stories that you're writing. There's an opportunity for you to heal. It's an opportunity for you to heal yourself and to allow others to heal through the experiences of the characters on the page. You can bring hope into the world. You scare other people with your horror or terror. You can give them adventures that they don't get to have because of the circumstances in their lives. It's a real privilege in my mind to be a writer and to write, because what you're doing is creating a world in which somebody can be transported into another character's life and experiences through your words, through your imagination, through your hard work. Those readers get to experience another life, and they get to experience struggles and challenges and opportunities to become their best self, or what it means to have an arc where the character falls from grace. There's a tragedy, there's love, there's happy endings, there's endings where things don't work out. There's all of this opportunity. It's a smorgasbord of creativity for the writer. Anyway, I feel like I've waffled on enough. Follow me. I'm Selina at empoweredwords.com.au. I'm going to get better at this. And I welcome you to the community. Thank you for being with me. Bye for now.